You know that look you get when you're in a meeting and you start talking about data governance?
Oh, I know it well.
It's not like anger or anything. It's
Yeah.
just the lights go out. The eyes just glaze over.
That is the universal sign. You've said the G word, and everyone is just, mentally checked out.
Right. You're sitting there, you're trying to explain why the marketing team can't just scrape whatever data it wants and dump it into some random spreadsheet.
And they're looking at you like you're just there to put up red tape.
Exactly, like you're the fun police.
That is the classic struggle to so many business stakeholders. Governance just sounds like bureaucracy. It sounds like the word no.
Yeah.
But for us, the people actually managing the data, we know that without it, the whole thing just falls apart. The challenge isn't the tech, it's the communication.
Which is why I was actually pretty excited to dig into the toolkit we're looking at today. It's called the Data Governance Analogy Toolkit. And, for our listeners who are constantly fighting this exact battle, this might be the weapon they need.
It's a really smart way to go about it. The source material, it talks about sensitizing the business.
I like that phrasing.
That phrase is so key. It's not about teaching them SQL or, technical jargon. It's about making them feel the risk. And a good story is the best way to do that.
So for this deep dive, we're going to focus on just one specific analogy from the toolkit. It's simple, it's very visual, and honestly, it's a little dark. It's called Z is for Zoo.
Z is for zoo. Okay, that sounds innocent, like something from a children's book.
Don't be fooled. It goes from a kid's book to a horror movie pretty fast.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
But before we get to the carnage, let's set the scene. The toolkit asks us to imagine our entire data environment, our whole company's architecture as a zoo.
Okay, I can picture that. A normal zoo. You've got your paths, your signs, your visitors, and crucially, you've got enclosures.
Right. You've got the reptile house over here, the big cat area over there, and in between them, you have walls, you have glass, moats even.
Exactly. And those boundaries, they're physical. You don't have to explain to a visitor why there's a huge pane of glass between them and a tiger.
No, they get it. Instinctively.
They understand the glass is there for a very, very good reason.
Okay, so now here's the thought experiment from the source. Imagine a zoo without any of the enclosures.
Uh-oh.
Just take away all the fences, all the glass. It's just one big open park where every animal can wander wherever it wants.
Total freedom.
Yeah.
Like the ultimate open plan office, but for wildlife.
And the source material, it paints a very specific picture of what happens next. It says, in this environment, the lions visit the penguins.
Visit. Wow, that word is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
It's an extremely polite way of putting it, but the outcome is not so polite. The source says, the lions visit the penguins, and the penguins disappear.
There it is. The penguins disappear.
It's so blunt
Yeah.
and vivid, and I think that's actually why it works so well. Because in the corporate world, we use such sanitized language.
Oh, absolutely. Data loss, integrity issues.
Right. But the penguins disappear implies something permanent. You can't, uneat a penguin.
And that's the emotional hook right there. You say unstructured environment, and a sales director hears space for innovation. You say the penguins get eaten. They hear we're losing valuable assets.
It completely shifts the conversation from abstract rules to, survival.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's really decode this for everyone listening. I want to map this directly to the headaches they deal with every single day. We've got lions, we've got penguins, we've got the enclosures. Let's start with the lions. Who are the lions in a typical company?
Well, it's easy to think of the lion as some sort of bad actor, right? A hacker or something.
A malicious insider.
But in this analogy, that's not really the point. A lion isn't evil. A lion is just a lion. It's effective. It's powerful. It dominates its environment.
So a lion could be, like a really aggressive algorithm?
Absolutely. Think about some high-speed ingestion script that's built to scrape customer comments for sentiment analysis. It's fast, it's hungry for data, and it's designed to just consume everything in its path.
Okay.
If you let that script run loose on your, say, delicate master data records without any protection, it's going to chew them up.
Or it could be a whole department. Let's be honest. Sometimes sales and marketing are the lions. Not because they want to destroy anything, but their whole nature is to move fast, break things, and get results. They want to visit the customer database to run a new campaign, and they want to do it right now.
And if they visit that database with some bulk edit tool because they decided to change the format of all the phone numbers without telling anyone,
And I've seen that happen.
well, there go your historical records. The lion just visited the penguin.
Which brings us to the penguins. the poor victims in our open plan zoo.
These are your fragile, super high-value assets, the stuff that just cannot defend itself against a bulk overwrite demand.
Like PII,
Yeah,
personal identifiable information.
exactly. Or your golden records,
Yeah.
that single source of truth for all your customer data.
I've also seen this happen with, like, historical logs. Someone decides the logs are taking up too much disk space, so a cleanup script. Our lion comes through and just wipes 5 years of audit history.
Go on.
The penguin didn't just get hurt, it vanished.
And in the context of, GDPR or HIPAA, if that penguin disappears, if you lose a customer's consent record, you're not just sad about the bird.
No, you're facing fines, you're facing lawsuits.
So the enclosure, the governance, it isn't there to be mean to the lion.
It's there to keep the penguin alive.
That is the single most important pivot in this whole conversation. When you explained it to a stakeholder, you aren't saying, I'm building this fence because I don't trust you.
Right.
You're saying, I'm building this fence because this data is an endangered species and you are a 500-pound predator.
And we need you to be a predator. We want you to go hunt. Just over there in the prospects domain.
Exactly. Go eat all the gazelles you want in the sandbox environment. Just please stay out of the Arctic exhibit where we keep the Social Security numbers.
I want to expand the cast a little bit. The source focuses on the animals, but a zoo has other people in it. If we're the data professionals listening, we have to be the zookeepers. Right?
We are 100% the zookeepers. And think about the zookeeper's life in a zoo with no fences.
It's just pure anxiety.
All day long. You're just chasing lions, yelling at visitors, sweeping up feathers. You can't actually manage the zoo because you're constantly in crisis mode.
That really hits home. How many data engineers are just stuck in reactive mode, fixing broken pipelines or restoring from backups because someone somewhere upstream broke something?
That's the fenceless zoo. Governance actually building the enclosures is what lets the zookeeper stop chasing animals and start, improving their habitat. It moves you from firefighter to architect.
And what about the visitors? The business users, the executives. They come to the zoo to see the animals.
But here's the funny thing about the visitors. They always say they want to get up close and personal with the data. They want that raw access.
Oh, yeah, just give me the raw data.
But if you actually put a visitor in the cage with the lion,
They'd panic.
they'd get eaten. Or at the very least, completely overwhelmed. They don't actually want to deal with messy, raw, unstructured JSON files. They want the curated view. They want the safe observation deck where they can see the insights without getting mauled by the complexity.
So the fences, the governance, it actually helps the visitors too.
It creates a better user experience. Governance isn't just about safety. It's also about usability.
This all leads perfectly into, I think, the philosophical core of this whole thing. There's a line in the analysis that I think is the bumper sticker for this entire concept. Freedom works best inside structure.
It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? Because usually when people hear governance, they immediately think restriction.
Loss of freedom.
Yeah. Don't fence me in. I need to be agile.
But let's play that out for a second. If I give you a car and I put you on a highway with no lanes, no speed limits, no traffic lights, no rules at all, are you free to drive fast?
No way. I'm terrified. I'm crawling along at 5 miles an hour because I don't want to get in a wreck. It's just gridlock.
Chaos is not freedom, it's paralysis.
But if I paint lines on the road,
Yeah.
put up some traffic lights, enforce some basic rules, now you can drive 70 miles an hour safely. The structure creates the conditions for speed.
So when a stakeholder says to me, governance is slowing us down, the real answer is no, governance is the highway system that lets you move fast without crashing.
Precisely. If you know that the data in the warehouse is governed, meaning the fences are up, the quality is checked, the lineage is clear, you are totally free to build your report.
You can just trust it.
You are free to feed that data into your AI model. You have the freedom of trust. Without the fences, you have to second-guess everything.
Is this data even real? Did a lion eat part of it? Is this compliant? You waste all your time just verifying things, and that kills your speed.
That's the fear tax of the open zoo. Governance removes that tax.
I do want to play devil's advocate for just a second.
Go for it.
Is there such a thing as too much fence? Can you over-govern the zoo?
Oh, absolutely. That is the other side of the coin. You put the lion in a cage so small it can't even turn around. The lion gets sick.
Right.
If you lock down your data so tightly that nobody can get to it, if it takes 6 months of approvals just to see a single table, then you've completely failed.
The zoo just becomes a prison.
And what happens in a prison? People start digging tunnels. If you make data access impossible, your lions, your sales team, will just create shadow IT.
They'll keep their own spreadsheets.
They'll start keeping everything on their own laptops, completely outside of your view. And now you have lions roaming around the parking lot where you can't even see them.
So the art is finding the right size enclosure. It's got to be big enough for the lion to run and hunt and do its job.
But strong enough to keep the penguins and all the other sensitive data safe.
That really is the art of data governance. It's not no access. It's safe, defined access.
It's creating a sandbox environment. I mean, literally, a play area where analysts can mess around with copies of the data without ever touching the production penguins.
Okay, let's pivot to the cell. We have this great mental model. We get the characters. But how does our listeners say a data governance lead actually use this in a meeting without, sounding like they're reading a bedtime story?
You have to read the room, of course. But the toolkit suggests this is perfect for sensitization and training. So think about your onboarding process for new hires or a big project kickoff.
So instead of starting your presentation with a slide that has 14 paragraphs of the data privacy policy,
You start with a story. You just say, welcome to the project. We are building something really powerful here. We have some high-performance algorithms. Those are our lions. And we have some very critical customer data, our penguins. My job, and the whole reason these rules exist, is to make sure the lions don't visit the penguins.
it instantly depersonalizes the whole conflict.
That is the most important part. It stops being marketing versus compliance.
Yeah.
It's just lions need fences. If you tell a developer, you can't have right access to this table, they might argue with you.
Yeah, they'll push back.
But if you say, you're a lion and this table is full of penguins, they get it. It acknowledges their power while explaining the restriction in a way that makes sense.
It also gives them a shared vocabulary. I can just imagine a developer coming to you and saying, hey, I need to test this new code. Can you set me up a sandbox? I don't want to kill any penguins by accident.
And that is when you know you've won.
Right.
When the business starts using your vocabulary to talk about the problem, it helps create a culture where protecting data is seen as just keeping the whole ecosystem healthy, not as some annoying box-checking exercise.
And it always anchors back to the why. We're not doing this for fun. We're doing it because if we don't, the penguins disappear.
And you always have to bring it back to business impact. When you're explaining this to an executive, connect the penguin directly to the bottom line. If this specific data set gets corrupted, we lose our ability to forecast Q4 revenue. That's a dead penguin. That's a real problem.
The source material also points out that there's more where this came from. This is just Z.
That's right. It's the Data Governance Analogy Toolkit. The whole idea is you can build a deck of these. If the zoo analogy doesn't land with a certain group, maybe air traffic control will, or water treatment plants.
But for listeners who want to go deeper on this specific way of thinking, where should they look?
The source points to the DG specialist. That's DGG for data governance. You can find their stuff at www.dgspecialist.com/podcast or check out their YouTube channel at DG Specialist.
It's definitely worth checking out because, half the job of any data professional is just translation. You're constantly translating technical constraints into business reality.
And sometimes the best translation is just a picture of a lion and a penguin.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a bit of a challenge. We've talked about the theory. Now I want you to take this back to your office on Monday.
Look at your organization's data landscape.
But don't just look at the tables and the schemas. Look at the dynamics.
Ask yourself, who are the lions? Which teams? Which automated processes are the powerful, aggressive forces? And are they roaming free?
And maybe more importantly, go look for the penguins.
Yeah.
Identify the endangered species in your company. Is it your customer PII? Is it your intellectual property, your financial history? What critical asset is currently sitting out in the open, completely unprotected, just waiting for a lion to stop by for a visit?
Because if you don't build the fence, it's really not a matter of if the penguins disappear. It's just a matter of when.
And nobody wants to be the zookeeper who has to explain where all the penguins went.
Definitely not.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Now go build some fences.
See you next time.